The scanner beeped loudly as Lieutenant Jack Harmon stared at the readout. His eyes narrowed at the numbers flashing on the screen. The research station Helios 7 hung in the darkness of space, its windows offering a view of endless stars. "Sir, you need to see this," said the young technician beside him, voice shaking. Jack leaned closer to the monitor. The spatial anomaly had appeared 30 minutes ago, a tear in the fabric of space that shouldn't exist. Now something was coming through. 99% unknown composition, Jack read aloud. The rest of the science team had fallen silent, their faces pale in the blue glow of the screens. Dr. Reeves, the station's lead scientist, pushed his glasses up. "That's impossible. Our scanners can identify every known element in the galaxy." Jack's mouth formed a thin line. 8 years in special forces before joining station security had taught him to recognize danger. "That 1% we do know? Those are weapons, big ones." The first ship emerged from the anomaly, then another, and another. Soon the viewport showed dozens of vessels, their hulls black and angular, moving with perfect coordination. "Send the alert to Earth," Jack ordered, his voice steady despite the cold fear spreading through his chest. "Now." The communications officer typed frantically. "Signals being blocked, sir." Jack grabbed the station-wide comm. "All personnel, this is Lieutenant Harmon. Emergency evacuation protocol. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill." Alarms blared throughout the station. Jack watched the alien fleet spread out in a formation he recognized immediately. Attack pattern. "How many people on board?" he asked. 87, sir," replied his security deputy. "Get them to the escape pods, priority to civilians and science staff." The first blast hit before anyone could move. The station shuddered violently, throwing several people to the floor. Emergency lights flashed red. "Hull breach in Section 4, someone shouted. Jack pulled up the station schematics on his tablet. "Seal off that section. Move everyone through the central corridor to the escape bay." People rushed past him, some crying, others in shocked silence. Jack directed the flow of traffic, keeping his voice calm despite the chaos. Another blast rocked the station. Sparks showered from the ceiling panels. "Lieutenant," Dr. Reeves called out, clutching a data drive. "The scanner readings, they're unlike anything we've seen. Earth needs this data." Jack took the drive and plugged it into his neural implant port at the base of his skull. A quick burning sensation as the information downloaded directly to his brain. "Go," he told Reeves, pushing him toward the last group of evacuees. The station's AI spoke through the remaining functional speakers. "Structural integrity at 28%. Complete failure imminent." Jack ran to the escape pod bay, counting the launched pods on the monitor. 16 pods away, carrying 82 people. 5 still unaccounted for. He found 3 injured scientists in the corridor and dragged them to the final pod. As the door sealed, the station rocked with another explosion. "What about you?" asked one of the scientists, blood trickling from her forehead. "Next pod," Jack lied, hitting the launch button. He sprinted to the last remaining pod as the station began to break apart around him. The pod door closed just as the ceiling collapsed behind him. Through the small viewport, Jack watched Helios 7 crumble. The alien ships methodically fired on each escape pod, destroying them one by one. His pod stealth systems were the only reason he remained undetected. The neural implant throbbed at the base of his skull, filled with data about an enemy no one had prepared for. Jack was now the only survivor, drifting toward Earth with the only intelligence that might save humanity. In the distance, the alien fleet changed course. They were heading toward Earth. Jack stood at attention in the Earth Defense Council chamber, his uniform still bearing the stains from his escape. The neural implant at the base of his skull throbbed with the alien data as 5 council members stared down at him from their elevated seats. "Lieutenant Harmon, while your account is concerning, we have no confirmation of this alleged alien threat," said Councilman Vega, his voice cold and dismissive. "I watched them destroy an entire research station and kill 82 people," Jack said, keeping his voice level despite his rising anger. "The scanner data is in my neural implant. I'm offering to transfer it to your systems." Councilwoman Pierce shook her head. Our long-range scanners show no sign of this fleet you describe. They can mask their approach. The data proves it, Jack insisted. The council members exchanged glances. Thank you, Lieutenant. You're dismissed. Report to medical for evaluation and psychological assessment. Jack clenched his fists as he left the chamber. They thought he was crazy or suffering from trauma. Either way, they weren't listening. They never do, son, said a gruff voice behind him. Jack turned to see Admiral Frank Donovan, a war hero from the Mars conflict, leaning on a cane. His weathered face showed years of battle, but his eyes remained sharp. Admiral Donovan, Jack said, straightening. At ease. Walk with me. They moved through the steel corridors of Earth Defense Headquarters. Donovan's cane tapped rhythmically on the floor. I reviewed your pod's black box data, Donovan said quietly. Something destroyed Helio 7, and it wasn't a malfunction. Jack felt a surge of relief. Sir, I have the scanner data in my implant. I know a place we can look at it safely. Follow me. Donovan led him to a secure room deep in the building's lower levels. The walls were lined with old-style computers not connected to the main network. Transfer your data here, Donovan said, pointing to a neural interface port. Jack connected his implant. Images and data flooded the screens. The alien ships, their weapons, their movements. I've seen something like this before, Donovan whispered, his face pale. 20 years ago. A small scout ship with similar design. We destroyed it and covered it up. Why cover it up? Politics, fear. Donovan pointed to a symbol recurring in the data. This marking identifies them as the Void Collective. They don't just attack randomly. They target species with specific technological markers. Like what? Neural interfaces, quantum communications, FTL travel. Donovan tapped his temple. Everything that makes us human. Jack studied the tactical data. They're methodical. They'll hit our outer colonies first, then work inward. The Council won't act without more proof, Donovan said. By then it'll be too late. What do we do? Donovan's eyes hardened. We build a team, off the books. Over the next week they gathered a crew of outcasts, a disgraced pilot, a court-martialed weapons expert, a convicted hacker, people with nothing to lose. Their base was an abandoned mining facility on Luna's dark side. Their ship was the Phantom, an experimental stealth vessel Donovan had borrowed from a military testing facility. Our first mission is intelligence gathering, Jack told the assembled team. We need to confirm the collective's attack pattern and find weaknesses. The Phantom slipped past Earth's defense grid undetected. Using the data from Jack's implant, they plotted a course to the colony on Europa where the aliens would likely strike first. They arrived too late. The colony was already under attack. From orbit, they watched buildings burn and people flee. We need to help them, said Raya, their pilot. We can't fight an entire fleet, Jack replied. But we can get close enough to gather intel. The Phantom descended through Europa's thin atmosphere, its stealth systems barely masking their heat signature. They landed near a research facility that seemed to be the aliens' main target. I'll lead the ground team, Jack said, checking his weapon. Donovan, monitor from here. Jack and 3 team members entered the facility through a maintenance tunnel. The corridors were filled with smoke and bodies. In the central lab, they found aliens extracting human brains from still living victims. They're harvesting something, whispered Cruz, their medic. A scanner on the wall suddenly lit up, detecting their presence. Alarms blared. Fall back, Jack ordered. They ran for the exit, but alien soldiers cut them off. Jack fired, dropping 2 enemies, but more kept coming. His team was hit one by one. Jack felt a burning pain in his leg as he was struck. He fell to the ground, watching his blood pool beneath him. The last thing he saw before losing consciousness was an alien face leaning over him, its strange eyes filled with cold curiosity. Jack woke to blinding white light and the smell of chemicals. His body felt heavy, like his blood had turned to lead. He tried to move but found himself strapped to a cold metal table. Around him, glass containers held floating human brains connected to pulsing tubes. He was in an alien laboratory, and he wasn't alone. 3 Void Collective scientists moved around the room. Their bodies were tall and thin with gray skin that seemed to absorb light. They communicated through clicking sounds and hand gestures. Jack's neural implant burned at the base of his skull. The pain was intense, but he realized something strange was happening. The implant was interfacing with the alien technology around him, translating their language. Subject shows unusual brain activity, one alien said. Higher than the others. This one fought effectively. Killed 6 collectors before capture, another replied. Prepare for extraction. Jack's heart raced. They were going to take his brain. He strained against the restraints until his wrists bled, but they wouldn't budge. The aliens approached with a device that looked like a circular saw. Jack closed his eyes, focusing on his neural implant. If it could translate their language, maybe it could do more. He pushed his consciousness into the implant, feeling it connect with the lab's systems. Suddenly he could sense every piece of technology in the room. The restraint controls, the door locks, the life support systems. With a thought, he released the restraints and shut off the lights. The aliens made high-pitched sounds of alarm. Jack rolled off the table and grabbed a sharp tool from a nearby tray. He drove it into the nearest alien's neck, black fluid spraying across the floor. The second alien lunged at him. Jack ducked and swept its legs, sending it crashing into a bank of equipment. Sparks flew as the machinery shorted out. The third alien reached for an alarm panel. Jack grabbed a container holding a human brain and smashed it against the alien's head. The glass shattered and the alien collapsed. Jack stood in the dark lab, breathing hard. His leg wound had been treated, but pain still shot through him with each step. He found his clothes and a weapon that looked like a pistol made of bone. Using his implant, he accessed the ship's layout. He was on a massive vessel, one of hundreds in the Void Collective fleet, and they were heading toward Earth. Jack moved through the corridors, avoiding patrols. His implant allowed him to control doors and security systems, creating diversions when needed. He found a communication terminal and sent a distress signal with his location. Hours later, he reached a hangar bay filled with small scout ships. As he prepared to steal one, alarms blared throughout the vessel. Intruder detected. Human presence in Sector 7. Jack ran for the nearest ship, but a squad of alien soldiers blocked his path. He raised the bone pistol and fired. The weapon released a pulse of energy that tore through 3 aliens at once. More soldiers poured into the hangar. Jack took cover behind a stack of containers, firing at any alien that came close. He was outnumbered and running out of options. A massive explosion rocked the hangar bay. Through the smoke, Jack saw a familiar ship burst through the force field. The Phantom. The ship's guns blazed, cutting down alien soldiers. The loading ramp lowered, and Admiral Donovan stood there firing a heavy rifle. "Get in, Lieutenant," Donovan shouted. Jack sprinted for the ramp, diving aboard as the ship began to lift off. The door sealed behind him. Inside, he found Rhea at the controls and the rest of the team manning battle stations. They all looked at him with shock. "We thought you were dead," Rhea said. "How did you find me?" Jack asked. Donovan helped him to a seat. "We picked up your signal. Came on a suicide rescue mission." "We need to get this information back to Earth," Jack said. "The Collective fears us. Their scientists were studying human brains because we're unpredictable in combat. They call it the human variable." The Phantom shuddered as it took fire from the alien vessel. "We captured one of their scientists during the rescue," Donovan said. "It told us something important before it died, the location of their homeworld." A massive explosion rocked the ship. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. "We've got bigger problems," Rhea shouted. "I'm picking up transmissions from Earth. The Void Collective just launched a full-scale attack on the planet." Jack looked at the display showing Earth, now surrounded by hundreds of alien ships. They were too far away to help. The Phantom limped toward Earth, its engines straining after the damage from their escape. Jack stood at the viewport watching his home planet grow larger. The sight made his stomach turn. Major cities burned, visible even from space as bright orange wounds on the surface. "How bad is it?" Jack asked, his voice rough from exhaustion. Donovan checked the communications panel. "Defense grid is down. Military response is scattered. Civilian casualties in the millions." Rhea guided the ship through debris fields of destroyed Earth vessels. The remains of humanity's space fleet floated like broken toys around the planet. Any response to our transmissions? Jack asked. Cruz shook his head. Nothing from the Defense Council, but I'm picking up scattered signals from underground bunkers. Take us down, Jack ordered. Find the strongest signal and land nearby. The Phantom entered Earth's atmosphere, shaking violently as Rhea navigated through clouds of smoke and ash. Below them, the landscape was unrecognizable. Craters replaced cities. Forests burned. The world Jack had fought to protect was dying. They landed near the Rocky Mountains, where a military bunker had been built decades ago. Armed survivors met them at the landing site, their faces dirty and eyes suspicious. "Lieutenant Harmon," said a woman stepping forward. Her uniform was torn, but her stance was military. "Dr. Elaine Winters, lead scientist, Rocky Mountain Defense Facility." Jack felt a jolt of recognition. Elaine had been his lover years ago before his assignment to Helios 7. Her face was thinner now, with a fresh scar across her cheek. "What happened to the Defense Council?" Donovan asked as they were led inside the bunker. "Dead," Elaine replied flatly. "Along with most of Earth's leadership, we're what's left." The bunker was crowded with survivors. Soldiers, civilians, and children huddled together in the dim light. Medical staff treated the wounded in makeshift hospital areas. In a secure room, Elaine showed them what they had learned. "The Void Collective isn't just attacking us, they're harvesting, taking people alive when possible." "For their brains," Jack said. "I saw it firsthand." "Not just brains, they're studying something specific about humans." Elaine pulled up scans on a screen. "Our capacity for warfare, our unpredictability." Jack connected his neural implant to their system, downloading everything he had learned on the alien ship. "They fear us because we're the only species they've encountered that fights back effectively." "There's more," Elaine said. "The collective is running from something worse than them." The room fell silent as she showed them deep space scans. Beyond the collective fleet was darkness. Not empty space, but something that absorbed all light. Whatever it is, the collective believes human brains hold the key to fighting it. Jack studied the data, his mind racing. "We need to strike back, hit their homeworld." "With what?" Donovan asked. "We have one damaged ship and a few hundred survivors." Jack looked at the Phantom through the bunker window. "We convert the Phantom into a weapon. My neural implant can interface with their technology. If we can reach their homeworld, I can upload a virus directly into their network." "A suicide mission," Elaine said quietly. "A chance," Jack corrected. "The only one we have." For 3 days they worked to modify the Phantom. Jack's knowledge of alien tech, combined with Elaine's scientific expertise, created a weapon unlike anything humans had built before. The ship's core was now a bomb that could destroy an entire planet. On the final night before launch, Jack found Elaine working alone in the lab. "You should rest," he said. She didn't look up. "So should you." "Elaine, if this doesn't work..." "It has to work." She cut him off. "You're all we have left." The moment was interrupted by alarms blaring throughout the bunker. Cruz burst into the lab. "We've been compromised. Alien forces approaching." Jack ran to the command center. On the screens he saw Void Collective ships descending toward the bunker. "How did they find us?" Donovan demanded. The answer came when Rhea's voice spoke from behind them. "I told them." She held a weapon, her eyes now glowing with the same cold light as the aliens. "I've been connected to the collective since Europa," she said, her voice no longer her own. "They're in my mind, they know your plan." Jack reached for his weapon, but Rhea fired first. The blast hit him square in the chest, and darkness closed in around him. Jack opened his eyes to find himself floating in a tank of clear liquid. Tubes ran from his arms and legs. His neural implant burned like fire at the base of his skull. Through the glass, he saw not a laboratory, but a vast chamber filled with thousands of similar tanks, each containing a human. He wasn't dead. He had been integrated into the Void Collective. His mind felt strange, expanded. He could sense the thoughts of others around him, both human and alien. The collective was a hive mind, and now he was part of it. A voice spoke directly into his consciousness. "You are awake, Lieutenant Harmon." An alien figure approached his tank, taller than the others with skin that shifted colors like oil on water. "I am the guide," it said without speaking. "The one who directs the collective." Jack tried to move but couldn't. "Why am I alive?" "You possess what we need, the war gene." Images flooded Jack's mind. The Void Collective traveling across galaxies, studying species, searching for one quality. The ability to fight against impossible odds, to create chaos within order. "Humans are unique," the guide continued. "Your minds contain patterns we have never seen. You fight when you should surrender. You survive when you should die." Jack saw the truth now. The darkness beyond the collective was coming. A force that consumed all life, all thought. The collective had been harvesting human brains to understand how to fight it. "You could have asked for our help," Jack said. "Your kind does not share. You compete. You war. These are the qualities we need." Jack felt his neural implant connecting deeper into the collective systems. His military training had taught him to resist mind control, to create mental barriers. Now he used those skills to shield part of his consciousness from the hive mind. He searched through the collective's knowledge, finding the location of Donovan and the others. They were alive, held in a different section of the massive ship, and the Phantom was intact, its weapon still armed. Jack began to push his consciousness through the neural network, taking control of systems one by one. Security doors, life support, defense grids. The guide sensed his actions. "Stop. You will destroy us all." "No," Jack replied. "I'm saving us all." He sent a message to Donovan through the ship's communication system. "Admiral, the Phantom is in Hangar 7. Get our people there. I'm creating a path." Across the ship, doors opened and closed, guiding Donovan's team toward the hangar while blocking alien soldiers. Jack felt his body changing in the tank, his cells merging with the alien technology. He was becoming something new. The guide pressed against Jack's mind. "You cannot resist the collective." "Watch me," Jack replied, pushing back with everything he had. In the hangar, Donovan and the survivors fought their way to the Phantom. Elaine was with them, leading injured humans aboard. "What about Jack?" she asked Donovan. "He's buying us time," Donovan replied, his face grim. The Phantom's engines fired up as Jack took control of the hangar doors, forcing them open. The ship shot out into space, heading for the Void Collective homeworld. Jack felt his consciousness spreading throughout the entire fleet. He could see through millions of eyes, feel with countless bodies. The guide fought him for control, but Jack had something the aliens didn't understand: human will. "The war gene isn't just about fighting," Jack told the guide as he seized control of the defense systems. "It's about protecting what matters." The Phantom approached the collective homeworld, its weapon primed. Donovan stood at the controls, his finger over the launch button. Jack sent one final message. "Wait, there's another way." Using his expanded consciousness, Jack rewrote the collective's core programming. Instead of harvesting humans, they would join with them. A true collective, combining the best of both species. The guide's resistance faded as understanding dawned. "You are not destroying us. You are changing us." "That's what humans do," Jack replied. On the Phantom, Elaine watched in awe as the alien fleet stopped attacking. The ships formed a protective barrier around Earth instead. Donovan received a transmission. The voice was Jack's, but different, deeper. "The war is over, Admiral. The collective now understands what they were missing. Not just our capacity for war, but our capacity for change." Jack's physical form dissolved in the tank, his consciousness becoming part of something greater than human or alien. He would watch over Earth as its guardian, a bridge between species. The darkness beyond the stars was still coming, but now they would face it together.